Hey there, this is Math 2, Unit 3, Worksheet number 6, talking about transformations. And transformations is something that you really did a lot of work with back in 8th grade, and so some of the same principles are going to be here today as well. And as I've just finished going through the Math 8 worksheets for their course, and a lot of these questions really are very much the same ones you did back in 8th grade. So hopefully part of this is review, but there might be a few things new here and there. So let's take a look at some of these problems. I'm going to start with today 2, 5, 7, 10, and 12. Again, I don't do them all, just portions to help you get on the right track. So first of all, we have reflect NOP over line x equals 2. Well, x equals 2 is located right about here. That's where that line is, x equals 2. And so we're going to we're going to reflect this triangle over that line there. If you think back when you maybe used patty paper, things like that, you would draw a triangle like so. You would copy that, and then if you knew you were going to reflect it on that line, you could take that and you could fold it over that line, and we know it should land somewhere about here. So that's the idea of what we're going to be aiming for, to go there to there. Sometimes you can see that with the grid lines, sometimes not as well. But if you're not sure about the grid line, what you can do is we can see how far away we are, each point is from this line of reflection. So point P is 1, 2 units away, so we'll go this way, 1, 2 units away for our new P prime. O is 1, 2, 3 units away, so our new O prime will be 1, 2, 3 units away, right there, and there's O prime. And N is currently 1, 2, 3, 4 units away from the line of reflection, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines there for N prime. And then we'll connect the dots there, there, and there. Okay? For the next part, part B, it says reflect QRS over line y equals -2. Y equals -2 is right here. That's where y equals -2. So to reflect it over that line, again, the same idea. I can see this point Q is 1 away from the line of reflection. So I can put Q1 there, or Q prime. S is 1 away, so I can go 1 this way and do S prime there. R is 1, 2, 3 away. So starting here, we'll go 1, 2, 3 units down, and we'll make this R prime, and then we will connect our dots there, there, and there. So I have this triangle reflecting over line y equals -2, and this one reflecting over x equals 2 right there. Okay? Let's look over at number 5. For number 5, I went ahead and I darkened in my triangle here just so we can see what's going on. So if I'm going to rotate a shape 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin, these things, the two things matter here. One, how far I'm going to go, and two, the direction I'm going to go in. Make sure you look at both those things. So this is 90 degrees, and we're going to go counterclockwise, which means I'm going this direction. So what I like to do is I start by tracing my line here. Again, visually, you don't always have to do this, but if it helps you see it better, you can. And I'll trace my triangle so I know where that's at. And then, just to help me know what 90 degrees is going to be, I'll sometimes take my origin and make like a little T right there so I know where my lines are going to be, because since this is grid paper, as I rotate by holding my pencil on the origin, once I get the T to snap back in place on the grid line, I know I've rotated 90 degrees. Now in this case, because we want to go counterclockwise, we know we're going to go this direction, and we're going to go 90 degrees, which means we're going to turn it 1 time. So I watch my grid lines until they snap into place, click, right about there, and now I know where that's going to be. I've rotated it 90 degrees counterclockwise. Now I can come back in here and I can plot my points. Okay, so my points are going to be located here. I have a point right there, which is going to be right here. I have a point out here, which will be right here. And then I can play again, connect the dots. And we have this one, and this guy, and that guy. Okay, and that's my shape. And in terms of labeling, my short end is here, B prime to C prime, and my long one out here is A prime. So that's a rotation, a 90-degree rotation counterclockwise, right? And I did that by, again, starting here and making the rotation just simply move from place to place and sliding it there. If I went clockwise, I would land about here, 90 degrees. If I went 180 degrees, I would land over here. Again, you should end up with points where these will be on the grid because you had points here where they were as well. So that's number 5. Okay, for number 7, it says we're going to rotate quad ABCD 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. Same idea as what we just did. So if I get my points in place, and I made this darker just so I could see it as I'm going along, and B and A is down here, so we put A in place, and there. I have my origin here, and I'm going to go 90 degrees, so I'll make my little T, and because I'm going 90 degrees clockwise, I know I'm turning this direction 90 degrees, so I'll make my T snap in place after I get to 90, click, 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 and I get that snapping in place right about there, so that I have all my points are also on a grid, the grid as well. So this point is there, this point is there, this point is right here, and finally my last dot looks like it's about here. Double check that, did I get that right? Yep, we're in good shape. So I have my dots plotted by doing my 90 degrees clockwise rotation. I can connect the dots there, 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 and there, and you can use a straight edge if you choose to do that. And this is point A rotating there, it just becomes A prime, which makes this D prime, this C prime, and this B prime, working like so. All right, you look at something similar, number 8, but it's 270 degrees clockwise, all right? And let's take a look at this one. We're going to be writing the rules for what takes one shape to the other. When I look at this shape here, I notice that if I was to trace this shape real quick and make a copy of it, I notice that even though I have the shape there, if I was able to rotate it, it's not going to line up. Because it's not going to line up and be the exact copy of it, I must have a reflection at some point to get there. So, knowing that, I'm going to go ahead first of all and do a reflection over the y-axis, okay? So, the x-axis. So if I was to reflect over this line here, let's just first of all, if I was to reflect it, then that point would go move 2 from the x-axis, 2 up, 2 down. Here we're going to go 2 up instead of 2 down. This was a distance of 3, so we'll go 1, 2, 3. So if I reflect it, that gets me to that point there. Okay, so step 1 is to reflect over the x-axis. That's my first step. Now, once I have it in this place, I can actually take my tracing paper, flip it over. Okay, so now I have it here. Can I do a rotation? Well, let's see. Let's draw my T on the origin, and let's rotate, and click. We land in place right there. So I can do, it looks like a 90-degree rotation, but I'm going counterclockwise at about the origin. Okay, so it's a 90 degrees clockwise, a counterclockwise rotation about the origin. Right, so we're here, and we go 90, and we're right there where we need to be. So this shape first gets reflected there, and then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees is my rule. And that's what takes place there. For 12, it says state a different rule to obtain that same image. Okay, well, I think you're still going to need to do a reflection to get in that direction there no matter what. But from here, I could also, if I chose to, instead of rotating 90 degrees counterclockwise, I could go 90, 180, 270 degrees clockwise. So one thing I could say is I could still reflect over the x-axis, step 1, and step 2 I could rotate 270 degrees clockwise about the origin. Okay, so that's kind of our steps of what we might do there as a difference. There may be other ways, this is just one possibility. Hope that helps out with your homework, and good luck, and you got a test coming up. There should be a review sheet next. See ya.